Before I get started, I want to acknowledge that the land we work, learn, and live on is the traditional territory of the Three Fires Confederacy of First Nations, comprised of the Ojibwe, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi peoples. It's an exciting day, and it's been years in the making. We celebrate this event because the needs have never been greater. Our youth are struggling. Anxiety, depression, stress, addictions, eating disorders, the list goes on. All of this was rampant before the pandemic, and we know that 2+ years of isolation haven't done any of us any favors. We know our youth are more isolated than ever, and we know the fallout continues. Wait times for service continue to grow. And that is why this youth hub is vital to our community. As one person or one parent said to me, it really is a game changer. A youth hub is a model developed by youth and for youth, and I encourage you to look at the renderings today. They have all had the input from our Youth Advisory Council, which is the most vibrant, energetic group of youth that I had the opportunity to work with in the last year and a half. It brings together a variety of services including mental health, addictions, primary care, employment, housing, recreational, and educational activities, all under one roof, where we are today. It's 10,000 square feet, it's amazing. And this is something that youth and families have been wanting for years. I recall having a focus group with families pre-pandemic, and it was so disturbing to hear their stories of wait times, going up against different hurdles, and having to always repeat their story to one provider to another. These youth wellness hubs provide low barrier, highly accessible services with no wait times for youth aged 12 to 25. The Government of Ontario has embraced youth wellness hubs as an integrated model for youth mental health services, and we are beyond grateful to have been selected as a site. It's one of those days in your life where you remember where you are and what you were doing when I got that call. Operating from our temporary location since March of 2022 at our partner Maryvale, over 300 youth have already benefited from service. That's amazing. And you're going to find out about some exciting outcomes today. Again, none of this would be possible without our partners, many of whom are here today. And I just want to give a shout out to Maryvale, Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare, The Bridge, Windsor-Essex Community Health Center, the United Way, New Beginnings, and the Inn of Windsor. And there's countless others because we keep getting amazing partners that want to be part of the magic we're creating. Each of these organizations is providing in-kind staff to support the programs and services at the Youth Wellness Hub. In addition, the Hub has its own staff here with us today, if you want to give a wave. They are quite dynamic, and you'll hear from some of them today. So really, it's about youth, and I want to start this with calling up Shane, who is a member of our Youth Advisory Council, to share his journey, a journey we hope not to have other youth go through. Shane.
As Kim said, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my personal experience navigating through the mental health system, wait times, and just my journey along the way, and why I'm looking forward to supporting the Youth Wellness Hub, because it is much needed in Windsor-Essex, because as I'm sure we all know, there's a lot of youth out there struggling. There's countless overdoses, there's been many deaths, and I've lost a lot of friends throughout my years, my journey in recovery, and it's no secret that is a growing epidemic. And I was 16 years old when I first started in my active addiction. I went to many recovery meetings, and I found myself being the only youth. There was many people in their 40s and their 50s talking about their wives, their husbands, losing their homes, losing their children, but I couldn't relate to them. I was 16 years old, my main priority was to get high, and I struggled with mental health a lot. And the wait times for some of these programs in 2 to 3 months. I first got arrested when I was 16, and they gave me the option to go to different programs instead of going to jail. And the wait list for that was 3 months. And in those 3 months, I've overdosed. And my principal did CPR on me, and my mom found me. black and blue, and I was dead for 3 days. And the impact that that had on my family and myself, and realizing, okay, something's got to change. And it was really, really scary, because I obviously wasn't planning on that growing up. You know, just as a little kid, you know, 6, 7 years old, I just wanted to be happy, wanted to be successful, and I just wanted to be loved by everyone. And you know, my life turned for the worst. At 16, like I said, got arrested, got involved in the justice system, and I've done a lot of things I'm not proud of. And as I mentioned earlier, the wait times. I was expelled from my high school at 17. I wasn't allowed at any high school in Ontario, so me getting education seemed nearly impossible. And I felt hopeless, of course, 17 years old. You know, I just wanted help. I wanted someone who could actually help me and relate to me. You know, I felt alone so many times, not being able to connect with other youth, instead being paired up with people much older than me who I felt like I couldn't relate to. And this is why I'm excited for the Youth Wellness Hub, is because it's youth being with other youth who actually know the struggles about being a youth, because no one knows what it's like being a youth unless you're a youth yourself. And this is why I'm really excited for the Youth Wellness Hub, because, as I said, it is much needed in Windsor-Essex. I navigated through 6 different programs in my journey. So repeating my story over and over and over to 6 different counselors was very traumatizing for me, because I don't exactly have rainbows and lollipops of a story, and that's just the reality of it, right? Like, I've had a lot of trauma, I've had a lot of personal experiences that I wish no one else would have to go through, but that's the reality of it, is I had to go through it to get to where I'm at today. And of course, there was a lot of barriers. I ended up homeless. I was on the streets for 3 months, sleeping on park benches, and I lived in LaSalle, so getting to the 400 building at the time when I was 17 was something that I never even heard of, the 400 building. And I talked to different counselors, none of them, I didn't know any of the options that were available in Windsor-Essex. And I was talked to about stable housing. There was a year wait list. So at 17 years old, being told I have to wait a year before I can finally have a place that I can call home, have a couch, and feel safe. Because I'll tell you, sleeping on a park bench is something I'll never forget. You know, being 17 years old and sleeping in the middle of November when it was snowing out, those are the days I don't ever forget. And as I mentioned earlier, I've lost a lot of friends in my journey of recovery. You know, especially during COVID, there's been an increase of overdoses, there's been an increase of mental health, depression, anxiety, as Kim mentioned earlier. You know, and it's something that unfortunately is going to be with us, but at least with the Youth Wellness Hub, it's a start, and I'm really looking forward to being on this journey. And yeah, so I just wanted to share that with you guys, and I'm really excited. Thank you.
I want to thank Shane for sharing his story. That's not easy to do, and we are glad you're here. Next, I'd like to introduce Michelle Rocheleau. She is the operations manager at the Youth Wellness Hub, and she just gets youth. She has this magic way of working with them and has already achieved a lot of exciting outcomes. So, Michelle.
Well, no speech is going to be as good as Shane's. So that's a tough act to follow. But every time I get to speak about the Youth Wellness Hub, it brings me immense joy. This program has impacted so many youth so far, and this is all due to the amazing contribution from Windsor-Essex. Not too long ago, 2 teenage boys were hanging out at one of their houses, and they both found that they were having a bad day, and together they decided that they needed some support and counseling in that moment. They had heard about the hub through school and decided to come in to see a counselor. The fact that these youth were able to recognize their needs, they had the knowledge of where they could get immediate help and support, and they felt comfortable enough with the staff and within the space that they could share what motivated them to come in that day is pretty amazing. Youth Wellness Hub's model are designed for youth by youth. Our Youth Advisory Council, which Shane is a stellar member represents diverse viewpoints of youth within Windsor-Essex, and they range from the ages of 13 to 25. They help to inform every decision made within the hub, including our permanent location, the programs that we have for them, and inclusion. Though the hub has only been open since mid-March, 213 different youth have been able to access the services that they desperately need, without having to wait or navigate through barriers. Of those 213 youth, we have had 928 visits. So just to let that sink in just 8 months, youth were able to come into a safe space and get immediate support just under 1,000 times. That's how impactful this work has been. These numbers show us that the demand for this program. Youth no longer have to jump through hoops and to get the help that they need. They are able to access immediate support rather than the long wait lists that they have been experiencing. This would not be possible without the ongoing support of our community. Partners have rallied to ensure that the youth of Windsor-Essex are getting the best possible care that they deserve. This includes agencies such as Windsor-Essex Community Health Center, Maryville, Hotel Dieu, the Inn of Windsor, New Beginnings, the Bridge Youth Center, and many, many more. If I listed them all, we'd be here all day. We also work closely with all of the school boards, the University of Windsor, and St. Clair College. They are invaluable partners, and they have helped us spread the word of the Youth Hub to the students. With the pandemic behind us, we have been able to set up information booths within the schools to raise awareness. It is because of these partnerships that we can ensure holistic programming is offered on site. Youth are able to access mental health and addiction counseling and peer support services, while also being able to learn some cooking skills or financial skills. All of this could also happen on the same day that they could enjoy some time with therapy dogs or do an art activity. As we continue to grow the Youth Wellness Hub, we look towards the future. With the ongoing support of the community, the possibilities are endless. We will be able to tailor our programming and the new building to meet the needs of the diverse population of youth within Windsor-Essex. We strive to ensure that every youth has access to the supports that they need within the hub. On behalf of our team and the youth of Windsor-Essex, I thank you for your generosity and support.
Thanks, Michelle. And just to give you some background, one of the first major challenges the Youth Advisory Council was where to locate this amazing facility. So there were many conversations, but they had a list of criteria: bus route, centrally located, not too overstimulating, close to the expressway and transportation, close to schools and parks, and the college and the university aren't too far, and it was, this was the corridor. So it's been a journey, but here we are. I'd also like to recognize Matt, Terry, Dave. They own and are the contractors of this facility, and they have been so great to work with. It was quite the fun meeting when we were dreaming big, and if you could have everything that you wanted under one roof, what would that look like? And it was quite the experience, and Dave was on board, and there was a lot of scratching out and changing this and changing that, but you can see the end result, and it's going to be spectacular. One of the key positions at the Youth Hub is peer support. No one can walk the walk more than a youth who has experienced that. And we have been fortunate to have Lexi Conlon working as our peer support worker, and she is here today to share her story. So Lexi.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lexi, and I'm the peer support worker at the Youth Wellness Hub. I'm so excited to be at this launch today and to be a part of the Youth Hub team. I'm going to share with you all a little bit about what peer support is, as well as how the Youth Hub would have made a huge difference for me when I was a youth and struggling with addiction and mental health. So to get into peer support, this is a role that provides me the opportunity to use my past struggles in a way that can help others. So peer support is rooted in hope through an empowering, empathetic, and equal relationship between people who have similar life experience or circumstances in common. Through training and skill development, my role as a peer support worker allows me to help youth who are experiencing similar difficulties. I am someone the youth can talk with and, most importantly, relate with. These days we have the internet, social media, and cell phones, and we can still often feel very alone. I am a firm believer that making real connections, knowing someone truly gets what we are feeling, can provide a lot of hope. It's the idea that someone else has been through what I'm going through and has made it out, so maybe I can too. And even if I haven't experienced what you have, I'll listen without judgment because I know how those feelings of shame or hurt can follow you. And I've felt the stigma that so often comes with being diagnosed with mental illness or living with addiction. As a peer support worker, I don't tell youth what they should or shouldn't do. I don't focus on diagnoses or anything clinical, but I can share what worked and what didn't work for me. I can provide hope, integrity, authenticity, and trust. Youth often have so much going on in their lives. Youth, school, friends, family, while sometimes also dealing with anxiety, depression, eating disorders, trauma, isolation. All of this can feel almost impossible to carry, and the Hub is here to listen, explore options, offer encouragement, understanding, and connection. I know when I was first getting sober, building connections with people who understood what I was going through was so important to me, but often so hard to come by. I was 20 years old, dealing with addiction, staying in homeless shelters. I had no job, no confidence, and I had burned bridges with almost everyone I loved. I felt utterly hopeless, and it was so difficult to find people who understood what I was going through. I cannot imagine the difference it would have made for myself and many I know to have a safe space like the Hub to get support from. Somewhere you can access food pantries, see a nurse, get homework help, attend an art class, and see the very famous therapy dogs. A one-stop shop with the idea in mind that youth don't have to keep retelling their story. Seeing how the Youth Hub has helped youth form connections amongst themselves is honestly what's been so huge for me these past 8 months. Seeing a youth come in their first time with their guardian, looking hesitant, maybe frustrated or hopeless, but as the time has gone on, they now come in on their own because they want to. The youth have group chats amongst them where they let each other know what groups are going on and who can go. They support one another and keep each other accountable. With this new space, we can provide youth with even more services, support, groups, and that's what's most important. Thank you.
Yes, the therapy dogs are a big hit. And also the art group. So there's some artwork displayed throughout the room today that has all been done by some of our very talented artists, so it's pretty cool. So yes, today we're announcing that 215 Eugenie Ave will be the permanent location for the Youth Wellness Hub in early 2023, but we have another exciting announcement. We live in an amazing community, and the Solczes are part of what make us amazing, and I'd like to bring up Kirsten for an exciting announcement. Also want to note, sorry Kirsten, but Kirsten has been on board with this since the beginning. The Solczes are very supportive of youth and children, and it was way before we knew we were getting a youth hub. And we made a trip up the 401 to see the youth hub in Chatham, and we were quickly very jealous and said we need this here, and Kirsten was an advocate from day one. So I just wanted to say thank you, Kirsten, for believing in us, and I'll turn it over to you.
Morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today on behalf of the Solcz Family Foundation. For those of you who don't know, the Solcz Family Foundation supports local youth serving charities across the Windsor-Essex area. And a big part of what we do is educating ourselves on the needs of our community. And we do this so we know exactly where our funds can best serve our community, and especially children, youth, and their families. And what we've seen and what you've heard today already is that there are prominent issues around barriers to treatment for youth. So that includes wait lists for services, stigma, transportation, just navigating the system in general, and then of course having to tell your story again and again as you move through treatment, which can be very overwhelming and scary too. So today we celebrate the launch of the campaign that will help us provide our local youth with a permanent safe space that is barrier-free, providing many services all under one roof in a warm and welcoming environment designed for youth by youth. And we've already seen, and you've heard today, the tremendous impact that the Youth Wellness Hub has already had at Maryville at its temporary location, and we know that this impact is just going to continue to grow in this new location here. The Solcz Family Foundation is fully committed to ensuring that this permanent location becomes a reality for our youth. And so today, I am pleased to announce on behalf of the Solcz Family Foundation that we have committed $1 million to support the youth. Hub will be known as the Youth Wellness Hub Windsor-Essex Solcz Family Foundation site. So of course, this new location will not be possible without the support of our very, very generous community. So if you can, please join us in supporting this wonderful cause so we can make sure the right services are provided to our youth at the right time and now in the right place. Thank you.
So we're gonna try something here. Normally we put a shovel in the ground, but we're not obviously doing that. So I would like to ask the Solcz family and some members from the Youth Hub to just go to the back wall, and we're doing a ceremonial hammer in the wall.
And just, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Okay. Get in there. Good. I should have worn work boots.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right.
I would like next to introduce Kurt Michael Downs. He is with the cute little baby, the future generation. Many of you probably know Kurt. Kurt is president and head coach of Border City Athletics. He's a teacher at the Windsor-Essex Catholic District School Board, and most importantly, a fellow Mustang. So Kurt, come on down. We would like to hear from you about how important this is for the youth that you work with.
Thanks, Kim. First, I'm pretty honored to be here and to be here with my daughter. I'm in a unique position. I teach, I coach, I work with a pretty expansive group of young people, youth. The youngest group of people that I work with is 7 years old, both at the elementary school level that I teach at. The eldest is about 30. So the group that I work with sort of spans the exact youth wellness hub group that we're passionate about here. In that group, obviously before COVID, there was a lot of things that affected that group, many of the things we heard already this morning. But more importantly, because of COVID, even more of those things have sort of come to light. In that, again, being in the position that I'm in, I've seen almost everything. We've seen death, we've seen the results of issues in the family. We've seen that essentially move all the way down to the classroom level at second grade. Having something like this here, again, I teach on the west side. It's very, very easy to get here. The students can walk, the youth can walk. They can ride their bikes, they can take the bus. There can be shuttles that can be brought here. That's vital. Access is vital. The second thing I think that is most important is meeting the kids at the level where they need to be at. I think that as adults, we often forget because we're here, we don't often meet the youth at the level they need to be at. This being designed and organized and sort of placed by youth is huge. Letting them have a voice is incredibly huge. So when you see other youth in the same situation as yourself, it's much easier for them to identify with. And that's something that I see very often. So I think having this here, having it in the space that it's in, as well as having it at the level that these youth can sort of identify with is so important. And again, I'm excited to be involved in the capacity that I'm in, and I can't wait to see where we can take it. So again, thank you for having me here.
And it's interesting working at CMHA, and you get often with mental health being so top of mind, and people ask, a family member experiencing this or a friend doing that, and I can't even tell you just since March how nice it's been when someone has come to me with someone that they care for or love that's between 12 and 25, and I can say, go to the youth hub, you get seen right away. Like, it's just been amazing to be able to say that with confidence. I would next like to introduce our CEO at the Canadian Mental Health Association, Dr. Sonia Hrabeski. She has been instrumental in moving this project along, and with her guidance and insight, the magic is happening. So, Sonia.
Well, once again, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this wonderful next phase of development for our youth hub. And even just what we heard this morning has just been already profound. I mean, I could start off even talking about the team here. Every time I run into them, wherever it may be, they're smiling from year to year, the energy, and that really exemplifies what this hub is going to be and feel like. Shane, my gosh, you were right about forgetting how to be a youth and a little distant from being a youth. So it was, and it has been, and will continue to be critical for us to learn from the youth and those who walk this every single day. So today comes with great excitement as we reveal the future home of our Youth Wellness Hub. We have been so grateful to be able to open a hub in Windsor-Essex County, and as Kim indicated, taking that journey down the 401, really says we can have that too, and our youth need it as well. We also know that there's been a lot of gaps in service for youth and young adults to access care, and for a place to belong without judgment. With this hub, it is our intent to reach out and be available for all youth that need support, spanning from mental health matters, physical, and addiction support. So there are many, many to thank today for each and every one of you being here today with us. Our staff, of course, Kim, your leadership, and with Michelle's leadership. Our Youth Advisory Committee, our funders, the Ministry of Health, Lisa Gretzky, MPP Windsor West joining us today, Andrew Dowie, MPP Windsor Tecumseh joining us today, Brian Massey, MP Windsor West joining us today. Thank you for that. Ronaldo Gastino, Ward 3 City Council, and this really speaks to the fact that it is important for government and it is important for a community for us to be able to stand this center up. And of course to the Solcz family, thank you to the foundation. Thank you for investing in our youth and in our future. We are very fortunate to have had other donors, the Ogland family, Libro Credit Union, thank you, Monarch Basics, Tim Hortons, and of course, to make all this happen and function, it is our community partners, and you've heard about them as well earlier. Also, a special thanks to Maryville through Jenny the Tink for allowing us to really stand this program up sooner than later and really start developing that expertise and understanding how the center is to work while we've been looking for our permanent location. And also, I'd like to acknowledge our new landlord, Terry. Terry, I know when we met in the earlier days in the parking lot with Kim and team, first of all, it was hard to find, but now we all know. We continue to work on it. Maybe it was me, I don't know. And Terry, I must say, along with Matt and team, that they weren't just interested in leasing us a place. They became partners and to really listen to what we need as a provider, what our youth need as part of service. So thank you for that. So there will be many through this journey. Also the Wellness Hub Cabinet for working to raise funds in support of the Youth Hub. So there is more to be done in our community. We acknowledge, we understand that, but this is what an amazing start. So once again, thank you to everyone for making this happen.
Thanks, Sonia. I want to thank everyone who has spoken this morning. We can see the power of community, and Windsor-Essex really is a leader in making things happen, getting the partners together, and overcoming obstacles and barriers. We are most grateful for the countless supporters who have already shown support for the Youth Hub. You've heard about some of them today. We're creating something really special that is part of a network of 22 hubs that are going to be located throughout Ontario by the end of this year. I'd also like to highlight that youth are our future. We need to invest in them. We have jobs that remain unfilled. We have an aging population. We have serious global issues like war and climate change that affect all of us. We need our youth to be productive, successful members of our community and of society. My interactions with the youth at the Hub have inspired me and given me optimism for the future. Again, we're so grateful to the Solcz family and some other financial commitments that allowed us to sign the lease and brought us here today. We have some exciting announcements coming, so stay tuned for that, but there is no turning back now. We are on our way. Again, just want to highlight that we're grateful that Tim Hortons, their Smile Cookie campaign, has supported us the last couple years as one of their partners. $208,000 towards the Youth Hub. That's a lot of cookies, so thank you for all of that. Libro Credit Union has provided some food security, so that's amazing. The Corporate Challenge supported us 2021 in the midst of the pandemic. Circle of Seven, Monarch Basics, Cars for a Cause, University of Windsor, Unifor Local 200, Windsor Salt. These people have already, shown their support, and like I said, there's more to come. But we do need your help. This is a $5 million fundraising campaign that we're launching today to support the ongoing capital needs to help us outfit this amazing facility, ongoing programming, and the development of satellite sites and workshops in Essex County, because we want to make sure youth have the supports wherever they are. We're optimistic that we can reach another million by the year's end with your hope, and we hope these stories will help light the way. If I can task you today, please help us spread the word. We look forward to having you all back in spring of 2023 for the grand opening, and you will be amazed by the transformation. Before I let you go, I do have one last youth I would like to introduce. And she has done a poem that she'd like to share. So Kaylee Chapman, over to you to send us off. Thank you.
My name is Kaylee Chapman, and this is Night Routine. Broken, battered, used, and bruised, taken for granted and emotionally fused to people pleasing, seeking good news, living off making highs for other eyes. Breathe in, breathe out. I realize I left my food out on the counter last night. Press, shutter, hit, release. It wasn't worth eating anyway. Just gotta start this stupid essay. Shield, sting, memories ring. Get out of my head, I proclaim out loud, as I lie in my bed and look around, but only with eyes, 'cause my body lies frozen, detached. But for a moment, I latch to the conscious recognition of my hand, outstretched. It isn't that far-fetched, is it? Maybe this is a familiar scene. Maybe I didn't need these words for you to understand what I mean. And I'm here today to promise you that your struggle doesn't go unseen, and there is a place to welcome you. Here.
Thank you. We're all sticking around if any media want to talk, or if anyone has questions about the Hub. We're certainly happy to talk about it. So thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. And like I said, more to come.